Hi guys! Have you guys heard about my new psychology project? I was talking to my lecturer about it and she said it was really good. And I'm now ready to get into any graduate school I want. It's going to be awesome.
Ned immediately finds a few sports psychology majors and begins to tell them about his great psych project idea. According to Cialdini, Jones, and Pittman, he is using the impression management strategy, basking in reflected glory, by associating himself with successful others. According to Gardner and Matinko, Ned knows that he is talking to psych majors and is therefore bragging about his psych project. Also, according to Bowmaster, Ned isn't using up very much energy since he is telling the truth, which doesn't require self-regulation as much as someone who would be lying.
I play a lot of international stuff. Like I'm awesome, like staying luxury hotels, and just all the time, just plain awesome. You are actually right. You're going to want me on your team. You're going to want me more. Really?
Joe is bragging to a new teammate about how wealthy his family are. He tells them about his summer and how he spends the time playing netball in other countries. He tells them that how he's lucky to be talking to him and how he's the most popular person on the team. Cialdini, Jones and Pittman call this bragging. Depending on whether or not he is lying or telling the truth, he may or may not be using a lot of energy. Joe is talking to a teammate that he's never met before. According to Martinko and Gardner, he's trying to talk himself up as much as possible to make him sound as good as possible.
Jill is talking to a new young female player, but trying not to talk too much about herself or accomplishments. She chooses not to tell her about her dream of being a top-flight netballer, which is encouraged by her coach. According to Cialdini, Jones and Pittman, Jill is self-handicapping by saying she isn't very good at netball, and the only reason she got games is because of her teammates. According to Bowmaster and Heatherton, Jill is using up a lot of energy by self-regulating in order to be modest and keep up her act to her new peer. According to Gardner and Martinko, Jill is talking to a new teammate she hasn't met before and finds her attractive, therefore acting modest to ensure the new teammate doesn't find her cocky.
You're so good by the end of this.
Nah, don't forget about Jill. She won every award last year. Paula is talking to a teammate about the upcoming netball competition. She knows her teammate thinks she is the best, so she decides to tell her about how good her other teammates are and that she won't be able to beat them. Cialdini, Jones and Pittman call this self-handicapping. Paula is creating excuses in case she fails. As Paula is trying to be as modest as possible, Bowmaster and Heatherton say she is using up a lot of brain energy. According to Gardner and Martinko, her audience is someone she knows and someone that she knows her. Therefore, she is working hard to change her teammates' mindset of her to make sure she doesn't fail.
Self-promotion is an impression management strategy used by individuals with a high theory of intelligence. These individuals point out their abilities or accomplishments to be seen as competent. We believe Ned uses this theory to seem competent to the psych majors as he explains his project idea. Ratioation is an impression management strategy also seen to be used by people with a high theory of intelligence. Ingratiation is an impression management strategy where individuals do favours or use flattery to get a likability from others. We believe Paula uses this to gain a likability from her new teammates as she is being modest and complementing Jill's skills. Supplication is an impression management strategy seen to be used with people from a high theory of intelligence. These individuals adverts their weaknesses or shortcomings. We believe Jill is using this strategy as she downplays her skills and chooses not to tell her new teammate about how good she really is. Intimidation is a impression management strategy seen to be used by people with a low theory of intelligence score. These people signal their power or potential to punish in order to be seen as dangerous or powerful. This strategy was seen to be used more by Joe as he pointed out how wealthy and powerful he was. Exemplification is an impression management strategy where people self-sacrifice or go above the call of duty in order to gain attribution of dedication from observers. There is no real indication in our data to who uses this model more, as the linear relationship line doesn't indicate which theory of intelligence score will be more likely to be using this strategy. This graph is showing the theory of intelligence versus all of the impression management strategy scores put together. From what we can see, it tells us that if you have a high theory of intelligence score, you are more likely to use impression management strategies to change the way people view you.
Inhibition is a form of self-regulation. It can be loosely defined as a personal hindrance to an activity or an expression. In this case, inhibition is an agreed upon removal of junk food from the roommate's eating habits, or as a part of a new thing of living a healthier lifestyle. Upon entering the bar, the roommates have noticed cookies, and they're all tempted by them. Obviously, they are not within the spectrum of what they can eat, and they most definitely shouldn't if they are sticking to their new lifestyle choice. So here's the question: will they consume cookies? Short answer, yes. But why? Well, according to Baumeister, 1994, hypothesizes that self-regulation is dependent on a limited resource, akin to strength or energy. In other words, it takes energy to inhibit antisocial behaviours, and that energy is of limited supply. An example from the cookie case in regards to inhibiting antisocial behaviour is each roommate using self-regulation techniques, trying to impress his new teammates. Baumeister later ran an experiment to test depleted energy from self-regulation on cognitive function. This lab experiment revealed that after those participants who had undergone these procedures akin to the roommate's lifestyle change subsequently performed worse on the other, quite different and seemingly unrelated self-regulation, such as perseverance in the face of failure, or maintaining a poker face in a humorous situation, much like the 4 roommates trying to impress new teammates. Baumeister refers to this as ego depletion. Therefore, each roommate will eat a certain number of cookies, depending on how much energy they used managing their impressions. So say there's a total of 15 cookies consumed. Out of those 15, Ned and Joe would eat a third each, while the other third would be shared between Jill and Paula, 3 and 2 respectively. Ned and Joe will consume a larger amount because although all roommates use self-regulation techniques, Ned and Joe will need to continue on within the bar as their attempts to impress others have more statements that are likely to draw further conversation, meaning they need to self-regulate with an already depleted stores. And according to Bowmaster, this means they will either forget something they have said before and make themselves look foolish, or scrap the healthy lifestyle change, and the latter being what they have done.
A high self-regulator will be using a high amount of energy, according to Bowmaster. This would lead to a person not participating as frequently as someone who is being themselves, as they would be tired after a simple training or game in a team sport situation.